I made a huge mistake in predicting the future of politics in this country, and it's time that I'm a man of my word and admit said mistake. Let's get into it.
Oh, yeah!
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to The Fringe. I have to make an apology to you folks, or at least admit where I'm wrong. Now, I've been saying for the last, we'll say 5 days, 6 days, that things were over for Justin Trudeau. When you tuned into the channel last Thursday, I had a video firing out on the channel talking about the vote in Parliament to make all financial documents transparent when it came to ArriveScan. And not only that, but that every opposing party but the Liberals, including the NDP, the Bloc, Conservatives, all voted in favor of transparency to know where every dollar went, who was paid, where promotional money went, every last cent. And not only that, but they were told that there was a motion for them to recoup the costs. Now, at that time, I had said, this is going to go one of two ways. Either Jagmeet Singh will not be able to prop up a Liberal government once those those documents surface, because this is a guy who talks about greedy CEOs, and this is a guy who talks about how he can't afford to betray his constituencies that you know have no way of paying for food for their homes or groceries when it comes to greedy CEOs. So I figured he's either going to support making a change because the government spent all this money thinking that they were due some form of entitlement to it, but or he would go down with the ship. Now it appears that, again, I guess it's not really an apology, but more of just well, I guess I was wrong. I honestly thought Jagmeet Singh would not be able to support or prop up the Liberals because it would show his true hypocrisy. Now, of course, being the clown world that we live in, they are, in fact, showing their true hypocrisy and are going to go down with this ship. Now, what this is going to do to the new Democratic Party is it will enable Jagmeet Singh to retain his pension, I guess, that everybody keeps talking about him going after. But what it's also going to do is completely destroy and obliterate his party. It is going to erase any credibility of any claim that they make that they're here for working class people. When you look at the carbon tax going up April 1st, when you look at the money that's going out on ArriveScam, when you look at $250 million in contracts and silencing people with online censorship bills, there's really no ground for the NDP to hold on to their bearings or hold on to their seats. So any of these other MPs, I think, stand a very large chance of losing their seats. But today, the NDP have done the unthinkable, or at least what I thought they would not do. And if you followed the channel last Friday, we talked about this lab leak that came out from Pierre Poilievre, where he showed this very large, extremely large document touting measures that went on during the pandemic, where the Canadian government allowed members of a terrorist outfit of the Chinese Liberators Army to come into Canada and have access to our secrets, our laboratories, our most studied diseases. Now, I'm not going to talk about vaccines. I'm not going to talk about the effectiveness of anything because we don't do those things on this channel. But what I am going to talk about is what happened here today as a committee was held to launch an investigation into how this happened, how Chinese interference came to our elections, how the Chinese had access to our laboratories to essentially harm Canadians. Of course, friend of the channel, Melissa Lanceman, tweeting out today, the NDP just voted to shut down the investigation into the Winnipeg Lab national security breach. The NDP is protecting Justin Trudeau from political embarrassment instead of protecting our national security. The cover-up coalition is not worth the cost or the corruption. Now, I tend to agree. Now, she's got, of course, here an article from the Globe and Mail stating that the Liberal NDP kill proposed examination of national security breaches at Winnipeg infectious disease facility. So for everybody in the comments who said nothing's going to happen, I guess I have to agree. I am literally flabbergasted and stunned that, and hear me out here, this is why I say I'm stunned, that the NDP, that Jagmeet Singh would vote in favor of transparency when it comes to corrupt money being given out to contracting companies for an $80,000 app that resulted in $80 million of stolen taxpayer money. They vote in favor of transparency on that, but then shut down to save embarrassment on a lab leak. I don't understand. Speaking of lab leaks, do you guys remember during lockdowns when they said, hospitals are overrun, hospitals don't have enough staff? A friend of the channel and personal friend of mine, Jamie Soleil, gold medalist, I might add, darn fine figure skater, posted this video. You guys remember this? The dance-offs, the funny little skits medical personnel used to put on while everybody was locked in their homes. The whole, oh guys, we're just keeping you entertained. We're just trying to keep our spirits up while all this craziness is going on. All of this was happening while the Chinese had access to government labs. Like, this is what they kept telling us. Make sure you don't go out of your homes. Make sure you're not selfish and you don't overrun hospitals because they're so tied up. They're so busy, but they had time to do this. This nonsense. Yeah, they look really distraught, don't they? Really, I don't want to show too much of it because it almost makes me sick just looking at it. But of course, we see here this Liberal MP. Now, forgive me, I forgot her name. That's how much I follow the Liberals. Coming out and of course defending. I'm not sure. Again, speculation, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not sure what her origins are. I don't know if she got in as a result of Chinese interference. I'm only basing that on her nationality. So please don't say this is a racist comment. There was a Liberal MP who was tied to getting his seat as a result of Chinese corruption and Chinese interference, who actually resigned. So again, I'm making that statement purely for the sake of this happened before. And the aggressive nature of the defense that comes from this woman makes me question why she's making such a statement to defend the government when Pierre Poilievre had such a large document confirming everything that's being discussed. But let's hear what went on in this 11-second clip, and then we're going to get into how things got shut down.
Have all alluded to that there was apparently some kind of cover-up. There was no cover-up. There was no cover-up, Chair.
No cover-up at all. Nobody from China came to Canada. Justin Trudeau didn't threaten to sue a speaker for putting those documents out. Nothing happened. That's not a cover-up at all, right? There's no diabolical means going on there. I mean, again, the Prime Minister's bank account or net worth went from $9 million to over $100 million throughout the pandemic. And we're not supposed to think that this is a cover-up? Let's listen to what was discussed after that.
Now, Chair, I have to say, this 1064 meeting calling process is supposed to be reserved for emergencies and not for political games. You know, the original letter that we've received on this 1064 really claims that, and again, it spreads disinformation, in my opinion, that, that it was the Trudeau government that withheld all of these documents. That.
Okay, I'm sorry, folks. Again, I know people get upset when I cut into videos, but again, I just don't want, there's going to be a lot discussed here, and I don't want to miss talking points. So she first says misinformation. Pierre Poilievre held up, again, a very large document with evidence quoted from the Prime Minister himself, and evidence that suggested, again, he threatened to sue a speaker for trying to make the documents public. So how she believes that this is misinformation, I'd love to see their definition of the word misinformation, because it seems to me misinformation seems to only be anything you're questioning that we are doing that we want to lie and say didn't happen. That's misinformation. Yes, Justin Trudeau covered up and hid this. Pierre Poilievre showed that evidence. He showed the receipts during his press conference. Let's continue.
that there's something nefarious going on here, that there's a scandal going on here. But the reality of the matter is, Chair, that we have worked very hard with all parties to ensure that there is accountability. We know, and I think that all members of this party, and I will again have to say that every single Conservative member who signed this 1064 letter has been substituted out by another member. They are not here in this room. So clearly, this is not the emergency that these permanent members signed off on. They're not here. Clearly, they don't care when we have all of these people substituted in for what is the mandate and the expectation of what the Ethics Committee is. The events that are in these documents, while they're incredibly important, and our government's taken action by creating this ad hoc committee, by releasing those documents publicly, does not constitute an emergency of what transpired 5 years ago. Many actions have been taken over these 5 years to ensure that these issues have been dealt with and that they won't happen again.
So it's look, we have gone behind glass doors to make sure that this won't happen again. We're sorry. We're sorry. So just accept our apology and move on. Don't look into what we did. Don't look into how we suppressed things. Don't look into... She talks about how certain Conservative members aren't present. And again, I would question that. I would question why. Again, I don't know the circumstances as to why those members are not present during this committee hearing. Again, if it is to be an emergency. But essentially, and it may be in the title of this video, so people will be questioning, this is treason. What happened in that lab was treason. And by them protecting the documents that have surfaced from the activities that went on in that lab, this is treason. Every single parliamentarian that blocks the access of this information from reaching public eyes is committing treason. And I don't care which way you slice it. That's my personal opinion. If somebody wants to say I'm wrong, they're entitled to their opinion. But I believe this is treason of the highest act. And I mean, this is where I say that when it comes to politics, we need stricter and tougher laws in our country to recall. Not like Calgary's recall with their mayor, where you need half the population to vote. I'm talking about if they're abusing their privileges as government, that the people have a right to question, remove, and replace their government. These people, these pigs at the trough, they work for us. And when we talk about national security, when we talk about the protection of Canadian lives and the protection of my life, your children, grandchildren, spouse, brother, sister, niece, nephew, mother, father, when we talk about all the protections of everybody that we know, you're darn rights we have a right to understand what our government is selling to other countries, what they're allowing other countries to take in and out of our borders, what they're allowing them in terms to access in our computer networks or our medical archives. We have every right to understand that. So for this moronic thing, I can't think of a word that's going to sound pleasant to come out and suggest that, hey, everybody, let's just leave this alone. It's really silly. It's really nothing. This woman should be strung up and arrested and thrown in prison. Solitary confinement. This is treason. Let's continue.
That's literally the purpose of how we are going to get to ensuring that there's accountability and fairness in process. The ad hoc committee, which again I was a part of, we did important work over the course of many, many months to get to the bottom of this. This 1064 is not necessary. It's not urgent. It is not in the mandate of this ethics committee. And Chair, for that reason, I move that we adjourn this meeting.
Point of order.
Mr. Chair, I request a recorded vote on this. Thank you.
That's fine, Mr. Chong.
Point of order.
It's
point
not,
of order, Mr. Chair.
On a point of order, it's not debatable what Ms. Khalid just...
I just want clarification to the effect of what Ms. Khalid has moved is to shut down debate.
I'm so
That's
sorry,
debate.
Chair,
That's
but
debate.
no, I refuse
That's
to
debate.
let
That's debate, Mr.
this 1064 to become political gander for
Ms.
my
Khalid, I've already addressed that with
colleagues.
Mr. Cooper, and
Thank you.
and for those who are watching at home, this is a dilatory motion to stop the meeting before a decision is rendered. So I am going to ask the clerk. It is non-debatable. Mr. Chong has asked for recorded division, and I'm going to ask the clerk.
Sorry, Chair. It sounds like you're debating a little bit there.
No, I'm explaining. I'm explaining, Ms. Khalid.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, I'm explaining exactly what's going on here, and that there is no further debate. That you have asked that this meeting be adjourned without a decision of the committee being made. I'm explaining.
Because this is not the mandate of the committee, Chair.
That's your opinion. Go ahead, Madam Clerk.
The vote is on the motion to adjourn the meeting. Yeas 6, nays 4.
So the motion to adjourn does carry by Ms. Khalid. This meeting is now adjourned.
Just to sum up, I ended up watching that entire vote. It was 6-4. Of course, all 4 nays were Conservative. All the yeses were Liberal and NDP. And this is, again, scary. This is we're in a banana republic. This is absolutely scary. What the government has shown us today, what the NDP and the Liberals have shown us today, is that they don't care. Now, again, people are probably screaming at the screen as I say that, saying they haven't cared the whole time. And of course they haven't. But what I'm saying is that there's no hiding it anymore. There's no beating around the bush. There's no, oh, it was somebody else. And again, I've said it's over with Trudeau because he has nobody left to throw under the bus. But I think now the problem, at least what I've seen today, what I've witnessed today, is that they don't need anybody to throw under the bus because Canadians aren't doing anything about it. Nobody's screaming from the rooftop. Now, I'm not inciting violence. I'm not requesting people go out and vandalize or riot or do anything that they should do. I think people need to get good and mad. And I've said it before, get in touch with your MP's offices. Get in touch with your constituency offices and tell them that they're all going to lose their jobs, that you're going to vote for independents in the next election, or anybody. You'll vote for somebody's pet goat if it means that they're not in office. I can assure you, I will be having Stephanie Kusi from the Conservative Party on the channel for an interview Friday morning. And I would ask that you tune into that because I'll be asking her about a Rive scam. But she's also my MP in Calgary, and I will be asking her the same question as to why it is that we're seeing such corruption. And if we're not going to see a change when Pierre Poilievre becomes Prime Minister, then why I would vote for any of them when it comes time for a federal election, because this is corruption at the highest extent. This is treasonous. Arrests, as Theo Fleury said in the tweet that I was showing you, arrests should be made immediately for obstruction. This is obstruction of justice. This is treason that is being committed in our country, saying that it's not an emergency, it's not a big deal to understand how millions of Canadian lives were put at risk and could possibly still be at risk of different forms of terrorist attacks. But let me know what you guys think. Again, in the comments, ladies and gentlemen, I want to hear from you. I'm sure I'll get a lashing, but listen, I came out and admitted my mistake, that maybe my eyes were looking in the wrong direction. And I guess I still cling to hope that perhaps things are on their way out. Now, things can always change. Things are always changing in politics. And we'll see as the year goes on if we see tensions boil, if we see Conservatives push a little harder, if we see outbursts or relationships crumble within the joint agreements between the NDP and the Liberals. It's going to get interesting. Again, as Theo told me New Year's Day when I spoke to him, he said 2024 is going to be interesting. Buckle up. I couldn't agree more, ladies and gentlemen. So we'll see what comes of the future. But as for today, treason has been committed in the country, and I'm very interested to see where things go, if things go anywhere in the future. But again, let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. If it's your first time here, I hope this video has earned your subscription. If you're already subscribed to the channel, make sure you double check you are still subscribed and have your bell turned on for notifications, as it tells me on YouTube that 73% of our viewing audience is not yet subscribed. Guys, we're trying to grow on this channel. Make sure you hit that button and join us on the channel, usually live for Friday Night Fringe here on the stream where we do our Friday night streams. However, this Friday I will be out of town in Manitoba visiting some family. So I will be doing a makeup stream Sunday, March the 10th. As well, after that, I will be going back to my regular scheduled Friday Night Fringe interviews, or live streams, I should say, starting March the 15th. So Sunday this week, Friday again, and every Friday after that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll catch you on the next one.